Hey guys, this is a guide on how to learn Python programming for beginners. So, assuming you're a complete beginner or even just someone who's learned a little bit of Python, here's a guide on what you need to know to learn Python completely. So tip number one is, regardless of the experience you have, you need to be practicing some sort of coding every day. Now this would probably be in Python if you want to learn Python for beginners, but there are also other things you can do to learn just to get familiar with programming constructs. So there are other languages such as Swift that you might learn, JavaScript. Those two are quite familiar to me, especially Swift. So I would recommend that definitely if you want to get started learning just programming constructs. If it's specifically Python, there are many resources. So there's my YouTube channel where I've got loads of videos, which will be in the top right and also in the description below. And all of these resources will be crucial for you learning how to use Python. Just as with real languages, you need to get familiar with the syntax, which is essentially the grammar of the program. You need to get familiar with actually writing it every day, just as you would with a real language, getting familiar with speaking it and feel comfortable doing whatever you need to do in that programming language. It takes quite a few years to be like really literate with the programming language, but between the time when you're starting and before you can actually start getting a job or freelancing, whatever it is you want to do, there's a lot of projects you can do. So I've made some videos about a few challenges. I've made videos about how to use it with variables, functions, loops, all that kind of stuff. So right from the beginner to the intermediate level, and there's so many resources for you to learn that way. One thing that helps with learning a programming language, and again this applies to anything really, is making it interactive. So there are many other ways to make things interactive. So you can build a game-like program, which I've also got in the description. There's so much stuff you can do. If you build something that you can see actually working and testing it out, it makes it so much more rewarding to see what you're building actually come to fruition. Just like with anything, if you build a program and you don't really understand why or how it's working, you don't really get that much joy from it. But when you make a program like a game or a test or something like that, and you see it working and you can play it and you can show people, then that makes it a lot more rewarding than just typing usual programs. It doesn't really matter how much programming you do, it's about what kind of programming you do. So you could spend 3 or 4 hours a day practicing loops and functions and you don't really know what you've learned, which is definitely something that I used to do. Just practice the same thing over and over again until learning how to actually implement it. But what you actually need to do is learn different things, become average at it, and then build a program with those skills you learned. And then you'll see whether you really know what you learned or not. So let's say you've been practicing learning a loop and functions. Then your next program challenge is to make a test program. You make that test program and you're like, I know how to make the function, but I forgot how to do a loop. Going back and learning that loop and then coming back and adding it into the actual program reinforces that thing that you're learning into your programming and just makes you remember it a lot more. So it's quality over quantity, definitely. So just keep that in mind when you're working for hours and hours and end pretty much doing the same thing. One other tip is to surround yourselves with other people who are learning. Now, not necessarily invite people over who are learning Python, but interact with groups online. So Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. Just talk to people in that same area so that you familiarize yourself with other people learning the same things as you do. So you can also help other people if you feel confident enough, and other people can help you. There are also a few websites which can contribute to if you're building a project. So let's say you're building a large-scale program eventually. You can go to websites like Stack Overflow and GitHub. Stack Overflow is a website where people help you with code that you need help with. So you can say, I built this, please help me get to this because I don't understand this. And GitHub is more of a place where people publish code and you can get code that you need for your project. So if you're missing a piece or there's a library or API that you want, go to GitHub and take that code away from you. If you don't understand that now, it's fine because you'll still be using that in the future, but that's just another tip for when you're learning Python. So here's the final tip of the video. Whatever you do with Python, what you need to do is build something. Build something tangible, something that you can use, something that you can see. It leads back to what I said earlier, but just build something. No matter how simple it is, even if it's 10 lines of code, just build something that you can see because it makes it so much more fun and rewarding. And with Python, as I said before, there are numerous resources. I'll link a lot of stuff down below, whether it's videos, articles, GitHub, Stack Overflow. I'll link all that stuff below so that you can actually go down there, research what kind of learning is best for you, and then yeah, see where it goes from there. So that's it for this video. If you like this video, leave a like and subscribe. Tell me if you've done any Python before, if you're a beginner, because I can easily help out with that kind of thing. So until the next video, bye.